Hi, good morning. So, happy Sunday. That's what my outfit is saying. It's been a while that we just dressed up and went to church. I don't know about you guys in the other parts of the country, but in Lagos, we've been at home. So, how are you doing? How is your weekend going? I hope the children are fine. I hope your spouse is fine. And I know that a lot of us are going to be in church this morning, you know. But I'm seeing some of my friends watching me. Hi, Rabiu. So, we're doing this everyday clip where we encourage ourselves to challenge ourselves as parents to self-regulates, and we've been talking about anger. And while we assumed that anger was just going to take us 2 days to discuss, we have been on the issue of anger from the 2nd of July, and today is 5th July, and I'm still going to touch on some of it, then introduce our next topic. Okay, so hi once again, my name is Ruth Haruna, your favorite coach, Ruchina. So we have been learning a lot about positive parenting, and we've been talking about some of the tips that can help boost our capacity to ensure that we raise our children in a healthy environment and that we ourselves are great examples to our children. And this month of July, we decided to challenge ourselves to regulate self, as in our emotions, anger, fear, anxiety, and find ways of showing our children how to manage, transform, and utilize some of these emotions in very healthy and productive ways. Because you, my dear, are the first role model of your child. Before your child sees another adult somewhere, before your child meets someone that they look up to and they learn from you. And some of these things they learn from you are actually unconscious. There are things that are called learned behavior. So the way your child will behave when he or she is angry, afraid, or sad is something that he or she has seen people do around. Because, like I say always, children come without some of this information. So it is what they've seen people around them doing that would inform their own behavior or response towards what they feel. Okay, so if a child explodes in anger or loses their temper and tend to be violent or behave in a certain way, we have said that that child may have seen this reaction somewhere. It may be in a cartoon, a TV program they have watched. They may be passing by and see someone react that way. It may be in school. It may be at home. It may not be the parents. It may be other people that live with the parents. So there are different places where children can learn certain behaviors. And we're saying that you, the parents, need to challenge yourself to be the first role model. So honestly, I'm not talking to you about something that I am not doing for myself, actually. This is a journey that I have personally decided to take because I just got tired of, saying to children what I sometimes don't even pay attention to. Like when they get upset and I'm telling them, use your words, don't show anger with violence, don't be violent with your sibling, and so on. And I'm like, I have to show an example to these children so that they can see that it is possible for a human being to behave in the way the parents are telling them to behave. So good morning, viewers. Thank you once again for watching this clip on self-regulation. And as I said, we talked about anger. And we said that anger is a stigmatized emotion. Anger is that feeling you feel when your personal boundaries are violated. Anger is how your inner self communicates to you that something is wrong and you need to do something about it. So someone might be violating your boundaries. Somebody might be doing things that may not go down well with how you want to be treated, and so anger will be stirred so that you can have a conversation with that person to say, when you're talking to me or when you're reacting to me, I would appreciate it if you do this. But what we're learning is how we can control ourselves. So we don't want to throw anger in the trunk, right? The boot of the car, because anger has its place. It reminds you that you are of high value and that people should not trample on you, and that you should stand up for yourself in a very polite and productive way. But anger also should not be allowed to take the driver's seat. So we said that anger is like a child. You don't want your child in the driver's seat, and you don't want to put your child in the trunk. So while you don't want anger to hijack your reactions and your behavior and your relationships, you also don't want anger to be lying down and sleeping and just stuffing the feelings you're feeling. So there has been a lot of response because it seems to be easier to use the steps that we have taught you with an adult. How about with a child? There has been lots of questions around, what if two children are fighting and I am angry because I have talked to them about this fight and they just seem to keep fighting? Do I start to breathe? And I keep saying that these tips we share are sometimes specific to certain situations. Breathing is always important. When we say breathe, we don't mean freeze and don't take action. We mean be conscious of calming yourself down. We mean calm yourself down and be in charge of how you're going to respond. Because we have said, don't react to anger, respond to it. And that's why we have said that. Hi Asho, hi sis, good to see you. Hi Sarah Sampa, I see you. Hi Rabiu, you guys should say hello to me too. Thank you so much for watching. I know a lot of people are going to have to replay this video because lots and lots of people are, online church or have gone to church and so on. So I'm just going to keep dropping this information here, and I believe that a lot of us will connect and watch the video later. So what I want us to get out of the way is the fact that you have control over how you respond. And when we say breathe, hi dear, thank you, we are saying take control of the wheel. We are saying calm yourself down. And I feel like you can challenge yourself to calm yourself down when you're upset and angry so that you don't lose your temper, because you have analyzed the way you have responded to issues in the past. And if it has not been positive, if it has not been productive, if it has not given you the desired result, they say it is insanity for you to keep doing the same thing and expect a different result. So you want a different result. You want your relationship with your children to be better. You want your children to learn how to manage and transform their own anger. You want your children to look up to you and say, whoa, this anger and self-control thing is possible. And I've seen mommy take step A, B, C, and I'm going to practice it as well. Do you want your home to be a peaceful environment? Do you want your home to be a healthy environment where your children grow, where there isn't constant and continuous strife, violence, and shouting and yelling? One key thing that psychologists have told us that keeps coming out is children get scared whenever there is yelling and shouting. You may get the immediate result you want when you scream at a child, but you have put the fear of God in that child. I don't know about you, but some parents brag that I will put the fear of God in you. Some parents, when I say fear of God, I mean like scare the child. It's good for a child to have the fear of God. But I don't think that you should threaten your child, scare your child, and bend them over at every expense of their emotional and mental well-being just to get them to cooperate with you. So this is why challenging yourself, and this is where we get to where the rubber meets the road. This is where adults begin to give excuses. I must be real with you. We have given excuses for too long, saying, oh, but these children are just a lot of nuisance. Oh, but these children will just never listen. Oh, but these children will this, these children will that. I keep saying that there are lots of things a lot of us do not understand about the developmental process of the child's brain. The cognitive developmental process of the child is such that there are certain things that the child cannot understand, assimilate, comprehend at a certain stage. And there is another thing called expected behavior. So your child will definitely behave in a certain way. Hi, Philemon La. So good to see you, guys. So good to see you. I'm missing a lot of work you're doing in Accra and other places. So good to reconnect with you once again. Hi, Lamin. Oh my God, my Yali guys are joining me this morning. Whoop, whoop. Thank you so much. Hadia Mama Binta, I see you. Thank you for joining me this morning. So I feel like adults need to start taking responsibility to challenge themselves to control their emotions. If you are an adult and you have made a successful transition from childhood to adulthood, then we expect you to be a functional adult. And if you have a baggage of emotions, hi Dan Maxwell, oh my God, this is exciting. Thank you so much for saying hi to me this morning. My friends and family, these are my very, very good friends, and we learned so much together on the Yali Regional Program. And some of the things I share with you are things that I have learned from my interaction with these guys. I'm so happy to have you guys on board, guys. Philemon, Lamin, and Dan, so good to see you. Okay, drop a comment for me. Okay, guys, so I'm challenging parents and other adults to rise up to challenge themselves to manage their emotions. We go around throwing fits and as adults throwing tantrums, screaming and yelling, shouting in the name of I'm the authority, I'm the parent, and I'm the boss. Instead, we need to call a spade a spade. We are simply out of control. So if two children are fighting and you need to separate that fight, you need to challenge yourself to say, I'm gonna calmly lift the other child that is vulnerable right now. Every time there is a fight between two children, one of the children have an upper hand. And if they are your children, or there are children in your classroom, or you're a caregiver, you should have observed to know who is stronger and who is more violent and who is more likely to get injured. Your job at that moment is not to yell and scream. Your job is to pick up the child. If the child is a bit in the middle school, hold the hand of that child and ask that child to come with you. Take that child to another part of the room or the house and keep that child safe. Now you come back to the child that is angry, upset, that have lost their temper and wants to pick a fight, and calmly tell that child, I am honestly upset about your behavior right now because we have rules in this family or in this classroom, and I am going to talk with you when I calm down. You see what you're doing? You're showing your child that it is okay to be angry, but not okay to talk to people when you are angry, because you know yourself. You know that you're likely going to lose your temper. So this is when you excuse yourself, have the child go calm down also, and you go calm down. So I have said that if you have attended our class on effective discipline, if you have attended our class on understanding the temperament of your children and their personalities, if you have attended our class on resolving sibling conflict, these tools will prepare you to respond to the situation in a more apt and effective way. Hi, Dasha Laurentia. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. Thank you so much, my people. I see that there is a lot of response on this issue because these are real issues that we are all facing. That somehow, some of us have suppressed anger and sentiment from all the hurt and pain we have gone through in life. So when a child is triggering that anger, it is all the residue of your unresolved emotions that rise to the top. Your boundaries have been violated, maybe by someone, your parent, or another adult in the family, or another adult in school, or someone you randomly knew or worked with. or you had a relationship with someone and they violated your personal space and your boundaries, and that built up anger in you. But possibly because you're a stuffer. We said that there are two types of people: people who erupt in anger and people who stuff anger. If you're an erupter, you would scream and shout, and the next minute you've even forgotten that anything happened. But if you are a stuffer, you would pile and pile and pile up all these emotions in your heart. Hi, Mabel Idako. Thank you for joining me. So if you have stuffed so much anger, every time another person triggers you with an irritation, all the residue of that emotion will come rising up. That's why sometimes you see some people angry and you'll be wondering, are they angry because someone stepped on their feet? Are they angry because of this incident, or there is something bigger? So what we need to understand is there is a backstory to every anger. Somebody might be angry because they are afraid. Somebody might be angry because they are sad. Somebody might be angry because they are anxious, depressed, tired, stressed, hungry, need sleep. All these things are backstories to anger. So when someone screams and says, I am so mad, you need to begin to unearth and begin to find out what is the backstory. Now, this is what I'm challenging you parents to do. Ask yourself, what is the backstory? Why am I angry at these children at this moment? Is it because I've discussed these rules with them time and time again and they are not responding? That can make a parent angry and frustrated. Is it because these children are about to get hurt, and as a parent I am afraid, I'm scared that my child would fall, or my child would be stabbed, or my child will be hit in the tummy and they might be hurt? Is it fear that is informing your anger? You need to identify what has triggered your anger. If you identify the trigger of your anger or the backstory of your anger, then that would help you manage it well. Then we will talk about managing fear. So what am I going to do about the feeling of fear I'm having right now? What am I going to do about the feeling of anxiety that I'm having right now? What am I going to do about this feeling of sadness or stress? Do I want to take a nap? Do I want to eat? Do I want to call a friend that is a positive contact, that I know if I talk to this person, the person would cheer me up, the person would make me happy, the person would lift my spirit? Do I want to take a walk and get some fresh air? Am I simply just tired? Do I need some mental health break? Okay, so understanding all this background information about our own selves would help us calm ourselves down. Now remember that that is your goal. Your goal is that I don't want to lose my temper. Your goal is that I want to show my children an example of how you could calm yourself down when you're upset. Your goal is that I don't want my children to feel uncomfortable, or my spouse to feel uncomfortable around me. Your goal is that I don't want to mess up the relationships in my life. So I don't want to go around screaming and shouting at everybody, yelling at everybody. You may get them to obey you temporarily. You may get your spouse to do what you want them to do temporarily. But honestly, the truth is that sooner than later, they will discover that all that power you are flexing with anger, they might decide to match your anger with anger or just ignore it. People will get used to your screaming voice. People will get used to you yelling and shouting, and you will no longer make any relevance. This is why children barely get the message you're communicating. This is why children barely understand what you're trying to teach them, because really you were screaming and shouting, and therefore the core message of your teaching moment or teachable moment is lost amidst all the anger and all the drama. So please, parents and other adults watching this video, I'm challenging you to rise up to this challenge of choosing to calm yourself down, finding strategies that work for you. So there are exceptions to every rule. If there is a danger, impending danger, pick the child out of that dangerous zone. Take the dangerous thing out of the way. But remind yourself that what your child is doing might be as a result of lack of understanding, because the part of their brain that processes consequences of action and behavior has not yet been switched on. If you are interested, check out the developmental process of the brain, the human brain. The human brain does not become fully developed until the human being is 20 years of age. Now, this is what's responsible for children taking a look at a table and they are like, oh, I feel like climbing this table is really going to be fun. At that moment, that human being is only gravitated towards pleasure. All they want to do is have fun, 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 fun. That's why if a child is not playing or watching cartoon or doing something that brings them pleasure, they tell you, I am bored. I need something, but I have nothing doing. Because at that moment, the mind of the child keeps getting pulled towards anything that will bring pleasure, right? So if you understand that this is just a stage and that it will pass, what you need to do as a parent is to continue passing across to your child the positive message in a healthy way. Use healthy communication channels to teach your child that, you know what, when you climb a table, if someone is using the table to eat or to read, first of all, it's not polite. Secondly, it's highly dangerous. You could fall and hurt yourself. Do you want to be hurt? No. What do you do to avoid being hurt? I'll find another thing that excites me, that is not dangerous, and that I can have control of and play with it. So if the child understands this during a conversation that is friendly and not tense, every time that child is in the euphoria of play and they do that, all you have to say is call the name of the child and mention the reminder of the rule. Hi, Dorcas, good to see you. Okay, so what I do is I teach my children to, for instance, when they use the toilet, wash their hands, clean themselves, flush the toilet, close the door of the toilet. Most times they forget a step, maybe closing the door. Because we've had healthy conversations about this, and they've understood why a door to the toilet should be closed. They've understood why they should wash their hands from germs and all the dirt. All I say is, Michaela, the door. You see, I don't need to yell. I don't need to give them a lecture, which bores children. Actually, they have a very short attention span. So, I mean, you're going to talk for more than 3 seconds, you lose them if they are toddlers. And then a teenager, you talk for up to 5 minutes, you have lost that teenager. So you want to beat your messages into small bits. And you want to have healthy conversations with your child to understand the rules and how things should be done before these incidences show up. So when they show up, you use simple words to trigger a reminder in their mind. Oh, if I leave the door open, it's not healthy. It's going to smell. If I jump on the bed, I could fall and hurt myself. Oh, I remember I fell the other day and mom reminded me the pain I felt. I'm going to feel this pain again if I don't stop jumping on a couch. Okay? So if you know all these things, and these are tips that we teach parents on our parenting group platform and our parenting group platform on our WhatsApp and our family life enhancement group on Facebook. So if you really want to learn more about these tips, you really need to join those groups, okay? So on my timeline, I'm going to post the link to joining the WhatsApp group. You can learn more about these effective steps. So if you equip yourself with positive parenting tips, strategies, and tools, whenever you're triggered with anger or whatever emotion it is, you'll be able to calm yourself down and respond to the situation with those effective tools that you have acquired. Okay, so this is it about anger. Breathing may not be your solution all the time, but breathing is something that you want to pay attention to. We have said that you need to be aware that you're about to lose it. That helps you to know that I need to take a step towards distracting myself. Now, let me tell you a story, which is going to lead me to round up this session. And I hope that we would have done a good justice to anger. And then we can move on to other topics by tomorrow. But we would come back to it if there are more concerns. Because honestly, I find my joy in receiving calls from parents to say, you know what, Ruth? I watched your video and I went to buy a notebook. One of my friends, and I mean people I know that are friends and family that call me and say things like this to me, it actually gives you more joy. You know, when people don't know you, they kind of attach much value to you, but because they didn't see you in your days of growing up and your processes and all that. But people that know you, it takes your work to be effective for them to really subscribe to you. Okay, so I find so much joy when a parent says, I bought a notebook because I need to put these things down. I need to take deliberate steps in ensuring that I'm being an intentional, a deliberate, and a role model kind of parent, so that I can raise my children to become effective adults in the future that contributes largely to a healthy society and are not a burden to the society. I want to be able to create a healthy environment for my children so that they can fully realize their potential. I don't want to truncate the potential of my child because I have messed them up mentally or emotionally, or I have shown them very bad examples, and the first day they resume work, regardless their skill sets, regardless how intellectually sound they are, they have no interpersonal skills and they can lose that job. Yes, it has happened. People have lost jobs because they have no grip over their emotions. This is a skill, guys. Self-regulation is a skill that helps you get to the top and stay at the top. So I don't know why some parents would just think this is something I sweep under the carpet. No, this is something you need to rise up and challenge yourself to. I am doing that, and I'm challenging my husband. We are taking this journey together. We hold hands from time to time and tell ourselves, you know what? Today we messed up, and we're going to try again tomorrow. We come up with strategies and steps we're going to take to undo the bad we did and try better. So there's nobody telling you that, oh, I'm perfect, everything is good and jolly. No, we're all on this journey of becoming better. Okay, so I want you to really take this seriously. So I find joy in providing these tips and being there to talk with you. Okay, just that it gets to a point where you have to pay for some of these packages. For instance, we're doing an intensive training, especially for mothers, because I'm sorry, my friends on the platform that are men, but I've found that a lot of men don't really go out of their way to learn to become better parents. I've seen a handful of men. Personally, it took my husband a while to get on board, because there is that feeling of, I can handle this. I can do this thing the way it was done with me. But what I did was I started showing to my husband the things that I have learned, and when he saw that it was beginning to work for me, for some things the children would come to me. They want to talk about certain things, they'll tell him, we're going to wait until mom comes. It was crazy. And he's like, you know what, babe? I'm on board. Okay? So please register for our intensive course that is going to happen on Sunday, next week Sunday by 7 p.m. And it's very cheap. It's just 4,500 naira. Very cheap. This is COVID-19 subsidized rate, guys. Because some of the things you're going to learn there and practice with the parents that will be on that platform with you, guys, you cannot buy those things with money. That's the truth. Okay, so very good question, Dan. What can we do to get more men on board? I feel like if people like you, Dan, can begin to talk about these things, you know, sometimes some of these issues, when a man is, you know, has been put in a box from when he was little or young, and it's been said, don't cry or don't show emotion, and all those things have been thrown at the man. Young men grow up to become, you know, feeling like, I can have a grip on this thing. I don't need to sit in a class to learn. I don't need to watch a video or read an article or read a book. and so on. But if young men like you, Dan, Lamin, and Philemon, and any other man watching this video can stand up and begin to talk about some deliberate steps you are taking to become better fathers, I feel like a lot of men will subscribe to it. It's really difficult for me because I'm a woman, and it's easier for women to really buy into these things from me, you know, because they're like, yeah, she's a woman, she can relate. But when a man begins to talk about these things, it becomes less and less stigmatized. And men will understand that, okay, this thing is not gonna be a problem to address. Okay, so yes, how to register. There's gonna be a link that is gonna add you to a WhatsApp group. It's gonna be on my timeline on Facebook. So when I end this video, check my timeline. There's gonna be a link that will lead you to join the WhatsApp group for this interaction. Okay, it's gonna be a WhatsApp, no, it's gonna be a Zoom interaction, but we're gonna send you all the Zoom IDs and everything on that WhatsApp group. Okay, and then we'll follow up with you on WhatsApp. So that's how to register. And for the dollar value, I think that would come to, I'm not sure, Dan, but I'm gonna do the math and I'm gonna communicate it to you. I'm gonna send you, I'm gonna inbox you, okay, when I do the calculation, and then I'll let you know. Okay, so basically, just to end this video, I want to tell you guys, right, men, women, parents, mothers, fathers that are watching me, I'm so proud of you for taking the step towards doing something about what you know you want to see. A lot of times, Africans, we spiritualize everything. We go into marriage and parenting leaving everything to God. Guess what? Guess what? When you begin parenting, before the child comes to you, that child is in the hand of God. But you also have something to contribute. The child is in your womb, and God is taking care of that child and, you know, building up the body of that child, the mind of that child, and the brain of that child, and every part of the child. And when you give birth to the child is healthy. Not just because God did a good job, but because you as a mother also took the right kind of vitamins you were supposed to take. Are you aware that there are a lot of children with, you know, mental and physiological and physical disabilities that resulted from the absence of certain nutrients and vitamins that a mother should have taken? Are you aware that there are some children that are born with certain impairments that could be as a result of, you know, failure to see a doctor while you were pregnant? So the journey of parenting is a journey you take with God. Whatever God you serve, you cannot leave that job to that God. He took that child and gave that child to you as a custodian. So you cannot just sit down, cross your leg and say, I leave the child to God. You know, when you do that, when your child becomes 18 and they are transitioning to adulthood, by then you would have equipped them with the necessary tools in their toolkit. You would have spent the 18 years that that child was with you to prepare them, to protect them, to provide for them, and to help them transition into adulthood as functional and responsible adults. So people, you don't leave that to God. It's a partnership. The child is a seed. The seed owner is God. The caretaker of the seed is you, the parent, the caregiver, the teacher, whoever you are. You don't have children. There are children that are not your biological children, but they come around you. You are a caretaker. So that's why we are first of all mentors. We are first of all role models to these children. So please, my people, I'm calling on you to challenge yourself. Buy a book, read an article, attend a training, pay for it. Put extra value on the value of your child's life. Do you know how many years people spend to study surgery, to become specialized surgeons? Do you know how many years people spend to be called to bar, to be able to rescue somebody from going to prison even though they are innocent? Do you know what it takes for the life of a human being to be left in your hand? For you to become a heart or a brain surgeon? Do you know how many years you have to go to school, study, stay up all night? Do you know how many books about, somebody calculated it to be like, is it 800 or 8,000 books you have to read for almost 12 years? Because for every year you have to read a certain number of books. Yes, and you know those books now, they are very huge and big like this. Those of you that studied the science field, you know what I'm talking about, right? How much more of molding a life? You are the primary caretaker of that life. Parenting is a very, very critical job. It's a full-time job. You're not a parent, you don't have anybody that you have given birth to, a child biologically. There are young people and children around you looking up to you. So being an adult is not something you do walking around and telling yourself, I can do what I want. I'm gonna tell you this story, right? So I walk out of my room one of those days. We've been on this case of walking around with slippers, like wearing shoes, slippers to walk around in the house with my daughters. You know, because growing up, we had to play outside and all that. And my mom was on my case on wearing slippers. So I just feel like they need to learn this practice so that wherever environment they found themselves, they need to protect their feet, okay? It's a very healthy principle for me. So one day I walk out of my room and I'm not wearing my slippers because I was very careful. I'm careful. When I tell my children do this, it becomes the Bible for me. My God, I am like, I need to try to do this. Hi, Auntie Penjane. Good to see you. Hi, Awal. You're welcome on board. You have to replay back to watch from the beginning. Okay, I know you will. Because we're rounding up right now. Okay, so my first daughter sees me. She's 7. And she says, Mom, you're not wearing your slippers. If it were any of us, you would just start saying, go back, go wear your slippers and all that. Yes, I teach my children to express themselves in very respectful and polite ways because I don't want to raise children that are not confident. So, and I'm like, yeah. Before I answer, my second daughter goes, Mom is an adult. Adults can do whatever they want. She doesn't have to wear slippers. Why are you talking to Mom like she has to wear the slippers? And you know what, guys? My brain goes din, 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 like something is fundamentally wrong. This was like a year or 2 years ago. And I'm like, when did I communicate to these children that once you become an adult, you are above the law? I'm like, we need to do some damage control now. I called the two of them together. I pulled them together and I bent down to their level. And I'm like, girls, you know what? This is totally wrong. I should have been wearing my slippers, but that's why we talk about mistakes and we say that human beings are not 100% perfect. They make mistakes. Mom just made a mistake. And I'm gonna walk back into my room and wear my slippers to correct this mistake and to learn so that I don't make these mistakes again. I'm gonna position my slippers in a place where it will always be a reminder for me to wear my slippers. Now, I have taught my children 3 things in that instance. Take responsibility when you're wrong. Apologize when you're wrong. Plan for practical steps you can take to ensure that you overcome your obstacle to achieve your goal. And then I'm like, you know what? Adults are not above the law. Every rule we have set in this household, we also must abide by them. So when you grow up, you don't get off the hook. You actually become, the burden of the responsibility increases. And they're like, really? And I'm like, yes. Because you're now expected to know better. Because your brain would have been fully developed. Emotionally, you would have been fully developed. And every other part of your development should have advanced. So you understand and you have the tools to make it work. So guys, parenting is critical. And it's not a hopeless situation. There is a lot of help available. What you have to do is to reach out and get that help. So once again, my name is Ruth Haruna. I'm Coach Ruchina. And what I specialize in is helping parents understand what it means to parent in a positive and effective way. I have an NGO, Overseas Youth Initiative, and we specialize in working with parents, children, and the family. We have several social media platforms where you could join, learn, and become better. So if you want to take a decision to be better, be a role model, show example to your children, you know where to go. You know where to go and you know what to do. There are lots and lots of people providing similar help. It doesn't have to be me. Reach out to someone and get the necessary help. And get your spouse on board. Thank you so much for watching, guys. And I'm gonna see you tomorrow. Happy Sunday. So sorry it was longer. There was a lot of engagement and I had so much fun. I hope you did too. And I hope you learned something practical to help you become a better, intentional, and deliberate parent. Bye.